Hello, YouTube. I am Ginger Jesus.
And I'm Maze.
He's
off screen.
He's off camera. And we are your most trusted source for all biased Blood Bowl news.
I'm sorry. But I mean, the first thing I think of is like things like Bret Bart. We're the Bret Bart of Blood Bowl. You can trust us. Wink.
Kind of. A bit more left wing. So
we're the Onion?
Yeah, we're the Onion. Only we're real. So, Blood Bowl 2020 rumors. So, I have yet to see a single rule yet that I don't like.
Well, have you seen how they're doing the SPP expenditure now?
No, that's new to me.
Well, apparently skills are going to be, from what I understand, and I definitely could be wrong on this.
Grains of salt.
Right. It appears that that the skills are being split up in primary and secondary function. With and I guess you can also now choose whether or not you are going to specifically choose a skill or randomly choose one.
Oh, wow.
So let's say you want a new primary skill, but you don't give a fuck what it is. You could pay 3 SPP and have it randomly selected for you. Or you can spend 6 SPP and choose your primary skill, or use that 6 SPP to randomly generate a secondary.
Well, all right then. That sounds pretty fucking awesome to me. I want to have a whole army of line rats with random skills.
You would.
I would. I will.
Philistine.
I like it. I don't know if it's better or not, but I like it.
It's new and different enough that I think it's gonna be a new way to play Blood Bowl, and I think coaches who are used to a standardized build and playbook will find a new and random way to enjoy the teams they love without having to resort to like halflings or goblins or snotlings.
Well, I mean, my biggest issue with 2014 Blood Bowl was the fact that they didn't change much at all. It seemed to be almost the exact same game with like a few tweaks here and there to simplify the already existing rule set. But I'm looking at the rules as they are now for 2020, and it looks almost as if they're taking a lot of the extremes out of the game. So the kickoff tables aren't as extreme. Your stat lines aren't as extreme, and your bash is not as extreme. These things still exist. They just aren't going to break someone's team.
Right. So what I think the big thing there is with 2016, GW was basically saying, hey, we're bringing Blood Bowl back. It's sort of like what you remember from Living Rulebook 6 and from our last edition, but now slightly tweaked and updated, but still similar enough to draw in the old guard.
Which is what they need, the old guard, even if, quite frankly, the old guard is, I think, what's currently wrong with a lot of the old guard is what's currently wrong with the community. Because all the people complaining about the new rules are people, it appears, that just don't want to have to learn to play Blood Bowl again. Oh no. But here's my problem, is that I run a gaming store.
Right.
I am trying to build a Blood Bowl community out from scratch. And I have had the problem of somebody new comes to my store, sits down, learns the game from me or somebody else, and then decides to play somebody else. And that other person plays Dark Elves, or Wood Elves, or Chaos Dwarves.
Or what have you.
I don't seem to have this problem in the video game. In the video game, you have so many options. You can play so many teams. You can start with Wood Elves and Chaos Dwarves. And you can go from those Tier 1 teams, and as you get better at the game, you can up your difficulty level by playing different teams and more challenging teams. And eventually, when you're playing on hard mode and you're playing halflings and goblins, you're doing well because you understand the game better than the other guy in front of you who's playing a team that is Tier 1 or Tier 2, which are designed for ease of use.
Right.
Yeah. So now those teams are still designed for ease of use, but they're no longer broken in the hands of a skilled player. That's the difference. skilled players can do terrible things with Elf, Skaven, and other Bashi teams like the Chaos. It's just they seem to have toned it down, which is great when a new player comes into the store, joins the league. I think I'm less likely to see people quit Blood Bowl after 2 games, after a 5-1 loss against Wood Elves, and after having half their team bashed out by Chaos Dwarves.
Fucking Chaos Dwarves.
But it's a real thing. These things exist, and honestly, I don't. And when you're walking into the next game with more permanent injuries than you have star player points,
It's an issue.
it's a morale issue. And I think the new system is designed to work with the morale issue of new players entering the system. And I, as an organizer, love it.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is that if you want fresh blood, you want to be able to keep fresh blood. Otherwise, you're running into the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Which is, honestly, I think, Ben, Games Workshop's biggest problem is you have to be emotionally invested in their games because they're so cost prohibitive that you can't walk into a Games Workshop game without already wanting to play it.
Right.
Which is very hard to get new people into the game. It's easier with Warhammer because Warhammer is everywhere. People become interested, they look into it, but you have to sell people Blood Bowl unless they already are familiar with Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically fantasy. 40k players have no idea what Blood Bowl is, and most fantasy players don't. I mean, I work in a game store. I know this. This isn't hyperbole.
It's very sober hyperbole.
Yes, it is.
This particular hyperbole can definitely affect getting that community built.
Yeah, which is important because a game lives and dies on its community, and this community is terrible. Did you want some?
No, I was just yes, but no, I was thinking it was kind of an insulting view.
How so?
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're implying that the Blood Bowl community itself is terrible.
Not the community, but how do I say this politely and gently?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking for clarification.
I joke in a not joking way that Blood Bowl weeds out the weak because Blood Bowl in itself is a very unforgiving game.
Right. It's like Monopoly with strategy.
It draws unforgiving people. Which I have no problem with in the midst of a game. But those people exist and they come to Blood Bowl because of what it looks like to them. And
so more like a toxic fandom situation?
Yeah. I mean, most people I meet, especially online, great people, no problems at all. But for some reason, not every time, but most times when I'm playing in a league, there's always 1 or 2 people who I find to be bad sports, bad winners. And they almost often play tier 1 teams while having the skill level to play effectively tier 2, tier 3 teams.
Sorry. I'm listening. But yeah. No, I agree. Sorry, a little bit of OCD.
So, while I actually don't even have too much of a problem with the game itself, I love the fact that the game is aggressive. I love the fact that the game itself is unforgiving. I love these things about Blood Bowl. As a sports person, as a gamer, I love this specifically about Blood Bowl. Like, who's won before the game is over many times. It's like, you can't score 3 more touchdowns in 5 turns, you've lost. Guess what? We're still playing 5 more turns. I mean, you can concede, which is an option, but generally speaking, usually...
Yeah, I mean, it's still opportunity for things like SPP.
Yeah.
You gotta, it's like...
if it
it's a lost battle, but you're thinking about the next game.
In a non-league tournament, at the point where you go, you know what, dude, you've won. Congratulations. I'm going to go grab a soda. In a league game, you have to finish the game. And that can be I forget where I was going with that.
It could be disheartening.
Yeah, it can be.
Especially,
But that's the kind of thing I need you to get over. Blood Bowl does require thick skin. I just don't think it needs to be that thick.
you can still have a competitive game without being an asshole.
Well, yeah. Yeah, quite frankly.
I mean, come on, people. It's not Madden.
Don't play humans. If you're going to play humans, play Madden. So, yeah, no, I like the new rule set. I think it'll be good for getting new people into the community. I think it'll be good for building a community. I think it'll be good for building a league. I'm happy with it. I'm happy that they made skills more complicated too, because skills always seemed a little oversimplified.
Yeah, but isn't there a fine line between oversimplified and undersimplified? I mean, you
They're
what I mean is that it could be that we're seeing an overcomplication of the skill sets.
yeah, but you're not going to pick a skill without a book in front of you anyways. So that part doesn't bother me as much. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. My point is that too much complication to a skill system in a game can be detrimental to be community building just as much as having a fandom full of gatekeepers.
The new skill system doesn't look overly complicated. From I saw a chart of thrower skills, and now that I know that secondary skills exist, it makes more sense. The thrower skills on the secondary chart were things such as +1 to mid-range throw, +1 to long-range throw, +1 to short-range throw. So
something by themselves that is
like,
simple enough when the math is in there, but
for some reason
it looks complicated.
Yeah, it looks complicated. For some reason, this gutter runner is just this Skaven thrower is just so much better at doing mid-range passes than anything else. So all of his mid-range passes have a +1, making them a 2-up with a free reroll. Long becomes +1 instead. So now your long passes are 3-up with a free reroll. Because the new Skaven thrower line has a 2+ for the throw. With a reroll, because he still has the thrower skill. Assuming thrower still gives a free reroll.
At this point, I couldn't tell you. I haven't seen as much on all that.
Yeah, I mean we are flying blind as far as skills go. All we know for rumored fact is that the kickoff table has changed and it has now got less movement in it. Only coaches give you free rerolls now.
That's kind of
and only for the drive.
A bummer.
And cheerleaders now allow you to roll on a table called Prayers to Nuffle, but we haven't seen that table yet.
There could be more rerolls there.
Maybe. Who knows? Could be anything. But now we have another option entirely for the kickoff table, which I don't know how I feel about. I think the kickoff table has always been a little bit too complicated. Too many steps. Too many steps at the beginning of the game. I don't like setup. I just want to start playing. Well, that's our thoughts on the new rumors.
Definitely a lot to think about.
Yep. I'm Ginger Jesus.
I'm Maze.
This is Monday Night Blood Bowl. Be good to yourselves out there.
See you on Monday.